Good morning and welcome to Equity Story Trade Watch, Tuesday, 7th of March. I'm by myself. Dave is away, unavailable today, so you're stuck with me. Good morning, and let's go through some of these announcements this morning, see what happened overnight. And I'm going to go through today the top 10 big stories, which I've promised I'm going to do as well. All right, so before I go on, I've got the Equity Story disclaimer in front of you. Please let's have a quick read through it. Of course, every story we talk about, it is going to be all about the fundamentals and technicals only. I'm going to switch back now to the actual charting, and we'll go through some announcements first of all to see what's actually happening. As you can see, I'm firstly going to talk about New Hope, NHC, and coal was going down and down and down. We talked about last week that potentially some of these charts may be a bit false. Maybe that's exactly what's happening this week. So you saw last week, NHC looked pretty good, and we're thinking to yourselves, why? When coal is going down. So you can see potentially it's telling the truth that we were right. The fundamentals are maybe telling you that don't try to get onto the NHCs, because the coal price is probably going to drag these coal stocks down, and this is what looks like it's happening. But early days still. Remember, it's only Tuesday, so let's see what happens. If you did get onto it, no panic yet, but I'd be watching it very, very, very closely to see what actually happens there. All right, overnight news. So we've got, first of all, we had markets were probably fairly benign last night. I think the reaction probably was more towards the commodity prices, where it reacted on the news from China that the Chinese are gonna have set the GDP at about 5%, which maybe was a little bit below what the expectations were. So some of the commodity prices came off. So that had a little bit of bearing on the markets. However, probably this week we're going to see what direction we're going to take. So it's a little bit too early to tell. But we had a nice start yesterday. Maybe a bit flatter today, maybe down today. But let's see. We've got another 3 days, and hopefully it won't be too bad. So this morning, let's have a look at some of the actual announcements we've had. So while I've talked about NHC, I'm going to have a look at some of the others this morning. Weebit's one, which came out with an announcement. I think with a partnership, the technology is going to be available on another platform. Look, you can see what happened last week, up, then down. So to me, it's just complete FOMO. There's just no fundamentals to this whatsoever at this stage. Great story, really good marketing. This company is domiciled in Israel. I'm not sure why it's actually trading on the Australian Stock Exchange. They've got offices around the globe. Something's going on there that I can't put my finger on, but you've got to be very careful with it. I'd say have your stop losses. Of course, another good announcement. Of course, great marketing, going up. Good luck to it. Unless I can see some revenues, I'm just not quite, as a fundamentalist, I just cannot be interested for this stage. Plus, I don't understand it anyway, so I'm just going to let it go through the keeper. If you do understand it, trade it, but be very careful. Like I said, something else is going on that we're not sure what's going on. That's pretty much it. All right, let's go to MIN. MIN, and this had a very nice presentation today. So look, if you like the story, I think this is still a good long-term possibility here for MIN. They are, the announcement today, or the presentation that they talked about the lithium, the iron ore, the ports, the new bits, which is the energy as well, gas. So they've got many fingers in many pies. So they're becoming one of those companies that's going to be quite diversified and possibly like a conglomerate of some kind. So overall, a pretty good company. And like I said, I think if you take the long-term view, it should be okay. In cyclical times, in worse times, if the lithium doesn't perform, if the iron ore doesn't perform, it's going to languish. Hopefully, one or the other will perform for them. So that overall, it's going to be quite a nice company for the long term. So I looked through that presentation; it was pretty good. So I'm pretty happy with it. No problems there. Next one is MP1, and MP1 for me had a pretty interesting announcement today where they've lost a CEO. So there's a fairly hefty negative reaction to that, and you can see it hasn't been trading very well. It's an expensive story. It's still loss making. I know that they've made inroads to becoming cash flow positive, but the market just doesn't want to know these things at the moment. They want to get it as close as possible to cash flow positive and profitable. Otherwise, you're going to be on a struggle streak. And these guys are. And when you lose your CEO suddenly, like they have announced today, resignation, stepping down immediately, this is not a great look. So, the Bevan Slattery's taken over, which is a nice thing at least, because, he's the guy who's come up with this story anyway, originally. Yeah, what's going on there? I've got no idea, but it's a sell for sure. So if you're in this, for some reason, this announcement just gives you a further, I think, reason to get out, not to stay in this story at all. Okay, next one. IVC. IVC, it just looked like they received a takeover offer from private equity. As you can see, something's going on here. Really weird. Huge fall. And now they've got someone coming in. I need to follow this up to see what's going on, but I think in a trading hold at the moment. And let's see what the terms and everything else is. But they've received a takeover offer. So actually, yeah, let's have a look at this announcement. We'll come back to this again because I'm just intrigued because the actual company performance over the last few years hasn't been great, right? So I suppose this is where the private equity comes in and they look at if they can extract some value. So let's look at the announcement here. And here we go. Received an unsolicited offer from TPG. And I'm just going to bring it up here so you can see. So $12.65 cash. They're also picking up 17.8 interest, so they're going to take a significant stake in this. So this should really bounce towards that 12.65 from here. But let's just see what happens, because you just never know whether someone else is going to come in, whether the market's taking this seriously or not. So at this stage, I'm just going to hold back, just see how the market reacts, and then we'll probably look at it at the end of the week, right? To see where it's going to be trading. But 12.65 or 12.85, I think just then, it's interesting. 12.65, here we go. But like I said, I'm not going to jump into this. I'm going to have a look at to see exactly what happens and how it trades post this. They're coming out of the trading hold. All right. So really, if you can see on the side, actually, there's another announcement from Pentanet that 5GG is the code. And why I love this company, early days, it became expensive, then it wasn't profitable. So during the post-pandemic, post the tech crash, it was sold off significantly. It's still too early. If you look at the chart here quickly, it's bounced, but it needs to do way, way, way more. But we'll look at it another time. So let's go back now to the top 10, right? Because that's really some of the stuff that we want to trade. Maybe you want to buy for the long term, see where they sort of some of these really big stories are, maybe for some dividends. So we're going to go through some of these charts and stories and see whether they're buying, whether they're not buying, and we'll take it from there. All right, so my top 10, really companies that I think reported well. This is top 100, right? So reported well. I think they still got a next 6 to 12 months, possibly. Let's take it 6 months first, because we're looking towards the August, which is the full year report, and then we reassess, because then I have to produce another outlook to see whether they've still got that wind behind them, if they can take it further for another year or so. So let's start with the top 10. The first one I've got is GMG. Of course, I like the company, got it in the portfolio, reported pretty well, upgraded there as well. I know some of unless we're expecting a little bit more out of it, greedy, I say. I still think this is good. If you're taking the long-term view, I'm buying this. Good charts, even if I put it on a monthly. So it's still holding the weekly, which is nice, but monthly for me, still holding. So I'm relatively happy with it for the long run to accumulate around these levels. Really good company, always been delivering, so no problems there. BXB, this one that's probably a new one that we really haven't been looking at, because it has been a pretty poor performer, but looks like it's going through our re-rate at the moment. And you can see, I think it's probably going to edge up towards the $14 over the next 6 months. Good performance, upgrade, looking at completely maybe a new performances out of them over the next, say, 6 to 12 months, starting to grow a little bit faster than they previously have. Obviously, the markets are in their favor at the moment, whether that's sort of curtailed by the interest rate rises and the slowdown of the not sure yet, but they are going through a good time at the moment. They should take advantage of that and looking quite better. So for me, one of those stories that maybe I wouldn't be, rushing into it. If you're in this, it's a hold for sure, but maybe wait for maybe a bit of a swing if you haven't got into it, like on the previous green candle, come back to it, maybe to 1250, 1280 and go again. But good story, starting to look a bit better for sure. So that one really impressed me with its announcements. Macquarie, of course, our perennial favorite. Really, that's a great looking chart, I have to say. The weekly is looking, if this stays like this is a buy. This is great, looking very strong. And I know there's been a lot of positivity coming from Macquarie and coming from other analysts actually talking about Macquarie. That's actually looking very, very good. So for me, fantastic. One of the better ones. Look at that chart. Great. And like I said, if it stays like this, buy. Let's look at another one, RRA, another one that I was really probably worried about, but the market announcement was very good. As you can see, complete reversal. So pretty much the market got it wrong here, right? Taking it down way too far. Charts basically got it wrong. Announcement came through, complete reversal, up, probably a bit of profit taking, but should hold that $3.20 and looking pretty good. So in other words, management has really come to the fore again in a tough market, really good performance. They can go on with it, I think. So just possibly, if you haven't got this, if you like this story, it pays a decent dividend, about 4%. You possibly could see it. Come back to the 330. That's where you probably accumulate around there. Another one that delivered quite well is Qube, sorry. And that one also had a pretty good move, as you can see. I know I had a little bit of a profit taking right here. So maybe for me, for the moment, wait till it settles, maybe around that $3 if it holds there. If you did get into this, still hold and look at that $3 as your maybe get out, as if you're tight. If you're looking a bit tighter, maybe that 294, 293, somewhere around there, you'd be getting out. But I don't mind this. This is pretty good. Good story, delivered quite well. Again, one of the better stories out in the top 100. Sonic, another one I was really worried about. It actually did better than anyone expected. Again, the market got it completely wrong, I think. Trading below, it's like almost falling off a cliff. Everyone's expecting to come up with a really bad result. It was actually quite good, considering the COVID stuff falling off a cliff for them. But generally speaking, the underlying business is going quite well. Lots of room for more acquisitions on their books. So overall, pretty decent. It's probably not going to be shooting the lights out here, but management is really, really good. Again, I tend to gravitate to really good management more than the companies that maybe have got a good story, but maybe the management is still new or fresh. But these guys have been producing for quite a long time. So again, you're picking up this at a really good stage, actually. If you're looking for a long term, you're picking this up on a fairly cyclical lows. And you want to take in that maybe that $40 again over the next, say, 5 to 10 years, right? So that's what I'm looking at this as a cyclical story on the lows, getting back up to its former glory again, which delivered quite well, like I said, really surprising on the upside. Another one that's a new one, really, that's courtesy I have to thank to Claude, EBO. I haven't really followed the story, had a look at it. Good announcements, looking good, great, really great looking chart over a long period of time. I'd be buying this right now. I've got no problems with this. In a healthcare space, very, very good. Another one that really surprised me on the upside in the top 10 was Telstra, and the chart looked pretty good. However, it's come back to the trend lines again. So look, I'd be looking maybe to pick this up on a swing. Not yet. I'd be like waiting for that turn, and maybe there's a little trade in here. So I was really actually surprised as a nice little announcement from them. So for me, just wait till it turns again and maybe move it up to that 430. It will be a really slow moving stock. This is probably the slowest of them all, but it is inching. It's way up. Really, it's gonna. You might only get like 10% out of the full year, right? Just completely, just top 10% would be the best you could probably get out of this, plus a little bit of a dividend. Even if I get 5% out of this over the next 6 months, I'd be pretty happy. But a big story, defensive. If we're looking at the next 6 months, could be volatile with how the markets might look, how the global economies might look on the back of inflation, on the back of interest rate rises. You never know. This could be outperforming the market. So that's why I'm putting this one on the top 10. Next one, CSL. This one's really, again, a story that's delivered quite well, I think. That had one of those, yes, we're going up, but then it came back again. But don't worry, I still think this is going to go up over the next, say, 6 to 12 months. So I'm expecting this to rush. So it's actually good time to have a look at this again. It's come back to the trend lines. Hopefully it'll get back. I think buying around these levels, I think you're doing okay. And if I say like a long-term view, possibly getting back up to that 320, 330. So yeah, not a bad time right now to look at this story. Last one, another new one that's caught my eye over the reporting season was TLC, the spin-off from Tabcorp. And this one's looking really good, right? So another charts, you'd probably be buying there. Would I be chasing it? Yeah, look, I don't mind. It's gone too hard, too fast for me. So yeah, I'd probably be picking this up right now and looking at, say, maybe a view 560, 570, 580, somewhere there. Still new, still fresh. But I mean, the business is mature. It's not a newish company that's just business. It's just been demerged from Tabcorp. So, the lotteries business, again, is probably a defensive type in a market that maybe we're going to be a bit of volatility, not a bad place to look at, and nice dividend to boot. So this is the top 10 for me, delivered well. Maybe if you want to just wait till the end of the week, see how they actually perform before you start looking at anything else. Mark any of these downs if you like them. Talk about them on the Ask the Analyst tonight and maybe on Friday as well. But these companies impressed me on their reports for the half year, and I'll be watching them closely. So if there's anything in there that maybe we can trade over the coming months and weeks. All right, guys, I think that I've talked enough today. So thank you for joining me. Have a great day. Have a great rest of the week. Please join me for Ask the Analyst tonight, and I'll see you either tonight or tomorrow. Cheers, guys. Bye.